It just did not feel right to do an NES DuckTales series and not include a super speed video, so here it is, at 150% speed. I'm Brickroad, and you must be crazy for still watching this after the musical horror show of the previous video. I'm doing Transylvania first because that health pickup right here is on the path, and believe me, you want all the HPs you can get. I am going to skip the treasures and things and just gun straight for the bosses, which, oh my god, became much more difficult when I sped them up. That's another reason to do Transylvania first. The Vulture Lady was only a minor pain in the neck at regular speed, but at super speed she's just a nightmare. I had to practice this fight like a dozen times before I came up with a good strategy, and even then, I sometimes wasn't quick enough to pogo her on the head before she belched out her lightning bolts. That's also why this video has scripted commentary. It took every iota of focus to keep up with the action on screen, especially where Scrooge has to pogo in tight areas. I lost a lot of lives due to mistiming my pogo button. This is a case where I simply could not talk and play at the same time. Hilariously, it's actually possible to clear a level with nothing except the $1 million you get from the boss treasure, plus your money for the remaining time. That just goes to show how much of the structure of this game is based around the concept of treasure hunting, rather than just completing the levels. It's one of those rare games where speedruns are not as impressive as score runs. I lined up the remaining levels in order of how much grief they gave me. Nothing in the game gave me as much trouble as these goddamn bees. There's not much ice cream in the Amazon, so taking too many hits here can be fatal. Not to mention the obligatory hit I have to take at Launchpad's helicopter, or just being dumb and slipping into the hole here. I lost a lot of runs that way too. But Brickroad, why would you insist on a no-deaths run? Well, imaginary yet inquisitive YouTube subscriber, DuckTales is a little short on the checkpoints. Dying means replaying the level anyway, so I figured might as well make it look stylish. I lost a lot of runs right here too, because I misjudged my pogo jump up to the secret vine. If you break the treasure box but miss the vine, you're stuck downstairs with the extortionist statue. And you might have noticed, but I'm about 300 grand shy of his total. I don't even know what a giant sentient Olmec head would do with 300,000 American, or why Scrooge would consider paying it, considering like $18 he could go to Home Depot and get a ladder. The game gets considerably easier after the Amazon. I think out of the dozen or so attempts this run took me, I only screwed up once from this point on. There's a little bit of luck involved getting through this level, because whether or not you take a hit often depends on what the gray jetpack guys decide to do. Like when they jam themselves into the spike hallway. Frickin' morons. On the whole though, it's all downhill from here. You still have to go through the whole key, detonator, explodey wall sequence, so the moon remains the longest level. But that's fine, because even sped up, the music here is still pretty wonderful. Just do yourself a favor and fill your iPod up with it. There's also a lot of ice cream in this level, not to mention the kindly old grandma lady, so the backtracking isn't painful as long as you play it careful. Actually, there is a glitch you can use to skip the backtracking entirely. It involves luring a gray robo-duck over here to the locked door, taking a hit, clipping into the ceiling, and bugging out the rest of the level. If you can put up with the gibberish, finagle your way underground, and fight the alien rat in a tiny confined space, you can skip the key and the detonator. With practice, I might have been able to execute the glitch often enough to make it worthwhile, but trying to get it in the same run as a good fight with Vampira and well-behaved Amazon bees sounded like a really frustrating way to waste a Saturday, so I didn't bother. I also didn't bother trying to squeeze unharmed through those Octo guys. That's rough timing even at regular speed. The hardest part of the moon level, honestly, is the beagles at the end. You have to take them on at the end of a rather long, ice creamless segment of level. Fortunately, I was able to use elevation to my advantage without much trouble. I was not able to come up with a good strategy to fight the moon rat. He can attack any of the four corners at random, and he moves so fast that reaction at 150% speed is just not possible. Fortunately, there's a handy little exploit. Pogoing in the corridor here leaves Scrooge totally invulnerable, but still damages the boss anytime he dashes in to attack you. Winning the fight is just a matter of holding the button down and waiting for the rat to attack your corner 5 times, while trying not to go insane from the springy sound effect. I promise I tried to make that fight not boring, guys, I really did. Getting the HP star thing in the Himalayas takes a long time, and I've already cleared the only sections of the game I might have needed 5 HPs for, So I decided to just skip it and leave Bubba frozen for the rest of eternity. He's a cave duck, he's used to it. Mountain goats are almost as annoying as bees, but if you're quick, you only have to contend with 3 of them, none of which come at you over bottomless pits. And man, the rest of this level is just an absolute cakewalk. I mean, sometimes these hockey player dudes don't even spawn. All the tough spider jumps are in optional sections of the level you can just ignore if you don't care about money. The abominable snowman's ice block patterns are somewhat more difficult, but you can safely get 2 hits on him for every 1 he gets on you. Hit him right after he lands in the middle of the screen, then when he reaches the edge, get him again just before he summons the blocks. No randomness or guesswork involved. I like boss fights like this. Play it safe or play it risky. Good arguments support both options, but taking either one still means learning the boss fight at least well enough so you can weave yourself into it. Capcom was the king of this kind of gameplay back in the NES days. They had this one series where you played like a little blue guy and shot robots and stuff. It was like always chock full of really fun boss fights. It's kind of obscure though, you might not have heard of it. It was like Mondo Man or something. I forget exactly. The African mine is so short and so easy, it's almost not even a real level. Shortcut that skips past half the stage, super simple boss fight. I admit I was a little nervous I'd botch the green guy hole, but nope, blew right past it my first try. Mondo Man would have been proud. Really, the way my gaming karma has been going lately, if I was going to botch anything, it was going to be the roly-poly boss fight. I did spend some time practicing each of the boss fights before I got started on the super speed run, just to make sure there were no nasty surprises in store for me. That's how I discovered the Moonrat exploit. Only the evil bird lady turned out to be a problem, and front-loading the run with her level solved that problem more often than not. All land clear! Once again, and once again, the flashy screen thing happens and all my treasures get stolen. So it's back to Transylvania yet again to reclaim my goods and put a cork in this game once and for all. The mummy in the hallway is worth mentioning because your timing has to be perfect or you won't destroy his ball in time. I lost several runs because I didn't whack him quickly enough in the first level, but I waltzed right past him here in the final one. Which is good, because if I'd gotten killed right there, I might have just thrown my computer out the window and spent all day crying. Dracula Duck is the only boss I did not experience any timing issues whatsoever during the run. I think that's because hitting him relies simply on pogoing his bats, and they're no more difficult to hit than any other monster in the game. So in a sense, just playing the levels at super speed honed all the skills I was going to need to secure my victory here. And then of course, climbing the post-boss endgame rope would not have been difficult even at 1000% speed. And honestly, I don't think I can even crank the emulator that high. So ladies and gentlemen, that takes care of DuckTales at 150% speed. I like how Scrooge is still the richest duck in the world even though he only just barely cleared $5 million this time around. I think someone should try a theoretical lowest cash run sometime. It would be pretty boring, I guess, because you'd have to run the time all the way down in every level, and then try to kill each boss just as it reached 0. Wonder if that would even work, or if it would count as a death instead. And once again, Scrooge's nephews are trying to horn in on his credit. Fat chance, nerds! Well, I guess that just leaves one last thing to do. Life is like a hurricane. Yeah, we're not doing that again. Bye, guys.